So I'm going to call the meeting to order. Jonathan is at a band concert at the high school. And he said if we're not finished by 8, he will attend, to which I laughed. That would be a miracle. That would be great. So I'm going to call the meeting to order and welcome our new representative from the town of Nepiescum, Leiden Rasmussen. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So we're going to do roll. Vanderbrink,
Here.
Page,
Here.
Schatzinger, here. Rasmussen,
Here.
Iverson,
Here.
Sorensen, here. Okay, I'll accept a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of, I see under old business, I forgot to add forensic audit update. So I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with that addition.
Colleen will make the motion, I'll second.
I move
Okay.
to approve the agenda with the addition under old business.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Public comment. Anybody back there want to speak? Okey dokey. Secretary's reports. Who's going to do that, your job?
As far as the secretary?
Or no, I'm sorry, minutes.
Oh.
Not you're the treasurer people. Doug, minutes? You had the minutes, right?
Yes, they're in there.
Does anybody have any questions about the minutes?
I don't think this is necessary to correct, but we did talk about re-inspecting Russell Manor's and Peter's
Yes.
church to be both re-inspected, but I don't think we're gonna do the churches.
No, we're not gonna do the church, but can you take, who's been doing the inspection supervision? Russell Manor has not been re-inspected. Spend a lot of time up there and I checked in.
I will have Fernandez do it on Thursday.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented for April?
I make a motion to approve.
Well, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Gary. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okey dokey. Now we'll move on to the
Hey,
treasurer's
treasurer.
report.
Did you get a little financials? Is
Right here?
that what you have in front of you?
Gary, you seconded it, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
So did everyone get financials? Or
You
was-
should have.
So if we're gonna go on the top page, you have the operations fund, your total revenue, so you have, budget amount of 631,906. We're not fully through the year, so you're at 382,544 so far, because there is the second, payments for the rest of the year, so. As you know, you don't get the money all the way up front. As far as expenditures, anything significant to note, the full-time salary, so Heather has started effective April 3rd, right? So you're starting to see that full-time salary on the financials. The part-time salaries continue to be at 29.31%.
It's actually that's staying within budget.
Yeah.
That's really good, so thank you. I think we're budgeted for 3 people during the day and that's what you've been scheduling.
Right, yeah, so we're 29%, we're at 32-ish% of the year, 33. Other than that, professional services, you can see, is slightly over.
Well, that's you.
But that's primary, that's what that is.
We can fix that, couldn't we?
Yeah, well, my boss can fix that. Repairs and maintenance, I think there'll be some discussion on that a little later on, but it's already fairly high. But I think there's some things that will need to be discussed as far as repairs and maintenance that are gonna come up in the meeting. Other things that, of any interest. The insurance, you make your payments up front, so you're ahead on that. Know there was a EAP payment this month for the Employee Assistance Program, which was, it's a good thing to have. Generally, in my opinion, it's a requirement to have as part of the state statute for the fire service, and it's a good thing to have. As far as your donations, on the next page, so there's nothing wholly significant there. There's been a couple donations last month. I think you accepted one and the month before one. Fire call charges on the following page. So that's also called capital projects. You see those. I know Heather's been catching up on the charges as far as billings, and there was some old bills that needed to be receivables that have to be handled, and I think just from several years out that need to be caught up on.
And I will put on the next, or whoever is the president should put on the next agenda write-offs.
Right.
And we should be doing write-offs for things that are very old.
For the receivables.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the donations, maybe this is on a different form that we just don't receive. Why not itemize? Why are they lumped together? I'm just.
That I think it's just, my understanding that's just how it's always been done. I
That's
don't
Barb,
know.
she's
Yeah.
supposed to be itemizing, it may not be on this financial report,
Would she have
but she's
that?
been instructed to
Earmark them
itemize.
for the.
Yeah.
Because we need to know what that's,
Right.
we need to know what our revenues are coming in, and if they're restricted, because the last gift was restricted
For the fire prevention.
for the.
Oh, no.
The comedy
That-
tool?
Tommy,
Big-
Yeah.
Tommy tool, yeah.
And then there is the fire education, I mean, so we need to have those separately, and I think we can ask her to send a separate report. I think
Great.
that that's absolutely a reasonable request, instead of being told we don't know.
So then your invoice register on the following page, any questions on those? I don't see anything that is, at least for me, out of the ordinary, that's not explained, I should say, in the description.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The 2005 Pierce on the bezels, is that the requirement, isn't it?
The repair, you mean?
Bezels on pump pan. Install bezels on pump pans?
That probably was a repair, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Oh, jeez. Okay, thanks.
No, we bought a chainsaw and, what else I see in there? Oh, string trimmer?
Yeah, we did buy a string trimmer now. It's a battery operated one, because there was some confusion of what gas goes into a string trimmer. So now that takes that out, because we burnt one up with putting the wrong gas in once. So now it's just battery operated and no confusion.
And that was just, what about the saw, was that battery operated now, or is that gas?
So that was a gas. Yeah.
Yes, and we traded in a saw that didn't work. Modern Rentals tried to fix it, we brought it back, it didn't work. So they said that they would give us what the saw was worth plus the repair towards the new one, and that we just paid the difference.
Looks like a big saw must have been. Pretty good size anyhow.
Yeah, I'm not exactly.
What did that cost?
900.
That's with chains and stuff.
It was, yeah, it was, that
The
was
chains and all,
chains and
wire.
everything.
Chains, case and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, change of $45 alone.
What's that?
Change of $45 alone.
It's crazy.
So then your combined cash investments on the following page. Total combined cash, $343,500, $43,995. Cash element, she has the allocation reconciliation to show that that matches there.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the accounts payable and treasurer's report.
I make the motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Chief's report.
I'll cover a couple things, and then John is going to cover some things. We've been working over the last month on transitioning a lot of the chief's reports, information from me as the consultant to John as the interim chief. So we're each gonna cover a couple things. I'll hit the building project updates, which there are really none at this point. That's on hold. That's primarily the upstairs, which I think we've discussed here in the past, is until there's further revenue source to finish the project, it's pretty much on hold. The update on the strategic plan, I've been working with the chief staff to get a committee put together to have a team. So there's a small number of people from the department and then a couple board members. They're going to get me the list of the department members, and then we're going to set up the series of meetings, sort of the kickoff meeting with them. And that committee is set to help be the voice of the department in the process. So in other words, we're not meeting with 20 people or 30 people, we're meeting with 4 or 5 people. And then we're going to kick that off in May. My hope would be we could get something done by the time you're talking about your budget this summer, August, but that is my sort of timeline to try to finish it.
Even if you could speed it up,
Yeah.
that would be good.
We want to do a community input session, so we have to do a little notice for that. And plan that out. But that's where I would look for the team of department members and a couple board members to be part of that discussion to help sort of encourage that in the community and in the department to get involved and get input from everybody.
Good.
And
Can I ask a question?
yeah,
So I know you said it like a positive, I understand for the time frame that you're only talking to a few members versus, you said 30 or 40. But if I'm listening to this and I'm a member of the fire, I might think, well, I want to be heard. Is there a process that you plan to have in place where people could know who to go to and can clearly?
yeah, the committee is more for putting together to keep the process moving and get some feedback, but we will do a department meetings, I guess I'll call it, and do some interviews and things like that. It's not, those are the only 4 or 5 people I can talk. It's, so I get, I can't come in, or someone can't come from the outside and just say, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. You need some people to buy into the process and say, hey, speak your piece here, because if you don't, you're not gonna be heard. So that's more what the small group is for, sort of help drive the process.
Thanks.
Yep. John, it's all yours.
You finished G already?
Gee, I know, I don't have anything specific on that. I don't know if anyone else has, there was discussion on the priorities, but it was to start working on a list for the donations and the copy tool.
And that's underneath, under new business, to put a committee together to do that. That's, I'm kind of objecting committees of the whole.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go back up to A, department staffing and morale update. Morale has been on the up, I have to say, so that's a good thing. Department staffing is still status quo. Everybody is still currently employed. Certification update. We just had a firefighter finish his firefighter 2. And he also finished officer 1 certification. And then the whole department went to a live LP training over at Utica. Utica Fire Department hosted an LP training over there. So the whole department went. I think we're only missing one. We're missing one person that day. One person that day, so everybody got that live hands-on training, which was great. A lot of the guys enjoyed it. It was a good night. The weather was good. There was no snow. So we'll go on to March calls. Actually, April calls.
April calls, I
That's a
get that
misprint there,
wrong.
but April calls, I think you guys all have a list in front of you here. Not too many, we've been really, really quiet, which is all good. There's a couple on the back. So total calls were 29. During that time, the day shift responded to 15. Mutual aid given, total calls for the year so far is 108. Any questions on the calls?
Question, can you elaborate on the controlled vegetation burn? The bottom of the page there.
Oh, I sure would. We worked with, you're talking a subcontract with the
Yep.
main hourly vegetation burns.
Yep.
The college always would like to burn off that Dresco Prairie up there. It hasn't been done for the past 4 or 5 years, I guess I'll say. So there was a lot of vegetation, old dead grass, and things like that up there. So a week ago Wednesday, I believe it was,
Yeah, it was
a week ago Wednesday, we went up there and we burned that off. We did a couple other vegetation burns in the area as well. The public library wanted us to burn off their prairie down and back there by the creek. We completed that as well. And we did a couple others in the town of Ripon as well.
Thanks.
Okay.
I'm also looking at the bullet point above that, you have a firefighter taking a leave of absence to work on wildfires. I had the privilege of, Mike attends the church I attend, and we prayed for him, and he was speaking very highly of the department, and he's gonna miss this place, but he's excited to go out and fight those wildfires.
Yeah, exactly. He's leaving Saturday. We just had a little going away party for him. We had some cake and ice cream down here last night for him. And he's looking forward to coming back already. He's great guy.
Yeah.
Snappy dresser too.
He is, yeah.
He's a
Mike
snappy
Shea.
dresser. He's a snappy dresser.
Oh, yeah, I agree, yeah. I see him every Sunday.
He's over in
Federal or
Michigan.
Michigan?
Do they have wildfires in Michigan?
I mean, I asked him last night, there was 3 different locations he wanted, and where he's going was like his 3rd choice, but he wanted to lock in on it, and so
So where's he going?
he's going to, the lower part of Michigan. So, yeah. I think he's excited about going and fighting wildfires, but I think he's looking forward to coming back and seeing what he can do to help the fire district too.
Yep.
So, can't wait for him to come back.
And did you say there's been no updates on staff in the last month? Is that what you said?
Brandon Mum has resigned, so he is no longer on the department. We wish him well in his future endeavors. We did get another application. Another gal filled out an application, or 2 actually. 1 gal and another guy. And the gal is also going to wildland firefighting.
She's going to Utah.
She's going to Utah, so she's gonna come back. She already turned in her application here, so I think when she comes back, we'll definitely look into putting her on the department as well. So the other 2 we gotta reach out, or 1 we gotta reach out to yet, get him on, get him an interview and move forward with him coming on as well. So,
Good.
yep, moving in the right direction.
Do you have a fire inspection?
I do. Fire inspection right now, currently 61 of them are done. We were just talking earlier today that we're gonna have to pick up the pace a little bit on these, so we can get them done within that June timeframe.
Have you resolved the issue between the 400 plus sites and the 500 plus sites? There's 2 different numbers.
What they're doing right now is they're going, I didn't assign them businesses. We've assigned them areas on the direction of Kevin Beers. And so what they're doing is like, they have West Fond du Lac Street done. So they started out at Surface and Surroundings. And they just hit every business. They're doing it on paper. They hit every business coming down the street, and then on the offshoots. So they get every business, and then that's when we're going to update our records with the city's records to make sure we have every.
So they're doing it
business.
all on paper and then you have to enter it all?
No, we're gonna leave it on paper for right now, and then once we get ESO up and running in
Oh.
the inspection part, then hopefully by the 2nd, Kevin Beer suggested that we do it on paper. Right now, it's just get them in and get them done, and then I have it all in file folders by each business, by each address. And so we're going by address, not business name, because the business names change. And so that's how we're gonna do it, and then once they get done, then I'll sit down with the city and say, okay, this is what we have.
Okay.
Does this meet your records? And then we'll go to the 2nd set. When we do them this fall, then we'll then we'll be on the same page as the city.
Okay, good, good.
So-
Because there's a disconnect in communication between what the city has for
Right.
numbers and what we have.
Right, and it all has to do with the parcel numbers, I believe. So once I sit down with them, I think we'll have a better understanding of it. So, I'm looking forward to working with the city and trying to figure a way that we can all be on the same page.
Oh,
I just
you're
wanna be on the
pretty
same page.
sassy, Gary, tonight. Okay. Do you have anything else?
Nope, that's all I have for
Any
now.
questions for you, Chief Hollis? We're gonna move on to old business. We have bids for the cameras as our first action item, and they're in this packet.
They should all be in order with color on the agenda.
So there's,
That's a different bid.
there's two bids for the cameras. One is from Decibel Associates in Watertown, and the other is from Accurate Controls. So it's a 7,000, not to exceed 7,000 from Decibel, and then from Accurate Controls, the base bid total is 38,000. What's your recommendation?
I'd probably take the cheaper of the two, I would guess.
Okay, okay.
Go ahead. No, you talked to Cooper more on this than I have, so.
So one of our firefighters knows and has dealt with the Decibel Associates before. He right now, the Decibel Associates right now is, they're outfitting all of Milwaukee schools with cameras. So they're like a mom and pop business, but they're doing big business, I guess is how I wanna put it. He told me that, if we go with his bid, that he will find time to put them in as soon as possible. He will,
Gonna move us up.
he will fit us in and get them up for us, cause he feels that we need them. He's like, if, when he walked in, he's like, how many cameras do you think you need? And I'm like, isn't that your job to tell me? And he's like, well, yes. He goes, some people have the idea that they need 20 cameras and they only need 5, or, he said, to get coverage so that it hits every single area that you do not have a dead zone, he suggested going with the 12. And starting from there. And then he also requested that we not have motion sensors on every single camera, because if the trees blow out front, then the person's gonna get notified every time the wind blows. So he said he'd work with us on, which doors we wanted to be motion censored and everything. And the guy that installs them lives in Rosendale. So his parents live in Watertown, they own the business, but he lives out of Rosendale, and so he would,
And I see that Accurate Controls has a 12 to 14 week lead time on all
Yes.
work. Does anybody have any questions?
Who did you say recommended the Decibel Associates?
I'm one of the firefighters, Chief.
Does anybody know, I mean, maybe not the specifics, of how long they've been in business?
I do not know, I can text him and ask him.
No, I just, out of curiosity.
So, is Accurate doing that much more? I don't, I'm not a high-tech guy. To make it that much more expensive, or
Shouldn't the bid be for the same amount of stuff?
what's that?
Shouldn't the bid be for the same amount of stuff, or no?
don't
Well, I
know.
think different people have different opinions about what is needed.
Yeah.
True.
Just look what Accurate Controls think.
Yeah, I was thinking 5, but 12 is over twice as much as but I'm not a techie
Is
person.
the 5 megapixel gonna be good enough resolution to see what's going on? You need to look.
Should be.
I mean, because look at Active Controls, they have 6 terabyte storage and
They only got 6 megabyte, right?
6 megabyte camera, but a 6 terabyte storage. I guess we got.
I think this is cloud, this is a
Yeah,
cloud.
we're
I don't
gonna-
know if that's cloud.
I don't know much about, I don't know anything about the proposals, but one question you may want to ask is to Decibel is there a cloud subscription cost to do the storage? Because it looks like Accurate is putting in something, head-end installation, and existing racks and terminations. I'm wondering if they have on-site storage versus Decibel is putting the cameras in, and there'll be a subscription for the,
Yeah, see, it looks like,
like a Ring doorbell you pay for.
see, it
I
looks
want
like
to store my
Active
stuff for a month or whatever.
Controls has that 6 terabyte raw storage, so
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's for like X amount of days, and then he erases it and just keeps writing over it, I don't know. Well, so what do you wanna do, table this and then
Well,
ask
no, I don't,
about?
well, first of all, I cringe when people say the word table.
Okay, I
Postpone
apologize.
is a better
Can
word.
we postpone it?
Well, I prefer, my preference would be if you want to approve one with a not to exceed amount. Such as if you did Decibel, and say not to exceed maybe $10,000 and get the cloud subscription amount. Remember, as soon as this goes in, we can tell the police department that they can back off on their,
Control.
yeah, because they're patrolling more frequently here. We had a stalker.
And are we paying for that?
No, it's part of your government at work, but they didn't hire an extra person to patrol here. So if you want to postpone it until June, we can. If that is the wish of the board, that is fine, and then we can get that cost of the cloud subscription from Decibel.
Does anybody know roughly what a cloud subscription costs, and just a private one, or I have no idea?
I don't know. I put a security system in for this reason, and I haven't figured out how to do the cloud subscription yet, so I don't know. I mean, I can see it right away on my phone.
Just looking here at this quote too, the second paragraph down here, where all electrical scope of work is excluded.
Oh,
So they are not running any of the
so
wires,
we'd have to have an
Right.
electrician.
Yeah,
come in
so
and
that would
pull
add it
wires.
on.
where this other
This is what
company,
he's doing,
Decibel, is doing all the wiring.
yes, he's doing all the wiring himself.
Yes.
And the quote, this is good for 90 days.
Are you sure he's doing the wiring or is it working through wireless?
He's working,
Where
he's
does it
running,
say?
he's running, I'm going by what I can try to remember. Cat 5 wiring,
Yeah,
everything is, he doesn't have to use electricity, he has to use the Cat 5 wire. And I just asked him, I said, for our quote, will we have to pay for a cloud subscription on top of the quote of 7,000? He said, absolutely not.
Oh.
So I think his is a video recorder. So, I think he's installing, if I remember right, he's installing a recorder that's gonna record it, and then we deal with switching that.
Working it out or
Yeah.
resetting it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, well, we don't have to ask that.
Yeah, no, that's great.
so, do you have any more questions? Yeah.
So we're sure that, I mean, that's the installation is included.
Yes.
But we're sure that means the Cat 6.
I asked him specifically, do I have to get a quote from an electrician to come in here and do anything? And he said, no, I take care of all of it. And he looked up at the electricity or the wires up in the mezzanine area and said, right now you have conduit running, I can run it right along with that conduit, I don't have to run any extra. So,
okay, well.
if you want me, I can ask him.
Go ahead. We gotta stretch it out to make Jonathan come in.
And then obviously the conversation would be, who are the authorized mobile devices?
Well,
right,
that would
can
be,
access?
that would be a policy decision
Yeah.
by the board. It would most likely be the command team. I can give the update on the forensic audit quick while we're waiting for that response. Jim Macy has taken over things and he's working on it. There's no formal update. He's just continuing to work on it.
And that's under old business?
Yeah.
Okay. That's where we have to,
Okay. So I just want to clarify that you don't have to have an electrician come in and run any wiring. He said, correct, no need for an electrician.
Is that good enough?
yeah.
Okay. So, would anyone like to make a motion?
On,
Which vendor to choose? If you want
Well-
to choose a vendor?
I'll make a motion to accept the Decibel Associates LLC bid of $7,000 to install exterior dome cameras with night vision.
All right, make sure we put that $7,000 in the
Motion
minutes.
to
Is there a second?
accept.
I'll second.
Thanks,
I
Gary.
feel like I'm a kid to be a second.
You gotta be quicker to make the motion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, so Heather, once these are in, would you contact PD and tell them they don't have to continue the upgraded patrols?
One question I should ask before we do, but this guy that's in Rosendale will probably, if we have a problem with this, he'll probably come over.
Oh, yep, yep, yeah.
Okay, now we're gonna go on to review bids for doors. And we have doors that have, you guys might be better off explaining, we have doors that have rusted away.
Yep.
The frames and the doors.
Man doors, not garage.
Service doors?
Yeah, the two service doors on the north side here are always in the salt in the wintertime. They don't get any daylight, they don't melt off, so it's salt, raised heck with them, so they rust jack. So we were having problems with them securing when you walked out, they wouldn't shut tight. So I did do some work on them to get them to shut now, but eventually they will have to be replaced down the road here. We did get two quotes, my second guy did finally get us a quote back. I think you have it in front of you guys there maybe.
Yeah, those Ripon area builders and Polish, there's two, right?
Oh, they only get two, yeah.
If you go in order, so if you go up here, this is your decibel.
So one is $10,340 and the other one is
That's your doors.
$8,300? Repair and maintenance of building. This is going to, we're gonna have to authorize money from the fund balance because there's only $2,000 for repair and maintenance of the building. So it would be a budget transfer.
And they don't have to get repaired right away, like I said, well, something we can wait on, a couple months down the road. Like I said, they're working now, they're closing tight, securing the building, so.
Well, do these quotes expire?
Probably.
I'm sure,
Well, and it says 20 days.
This one says
20
7 days.
yeah, within 20 days.
So things just keep getting more expensive. It's not like prices are gonna go down.
No, we should just get them fixed.
Question about pole ash, talks about the owner needs to remove electrical and reinstall electrical as needed, and they're gonna add a new electric strike, and I don't, maybe I'm missing it. Where is it talking about electric in the Ripon area builders?
You know,
He was gonna do that all on his own. He wasn't gonna hire an electrician to do it. Ripon Area Builders was gonna take care of himself. Or Pole Ash wasn't going to do the electrical on it.
Yeah.
And the electrical is for our keyless fobs. So when you put the key fob up there, it lets you in. It's just a little conduit that has to come off, and it's pretty simple, straightforward.
So it is included here, but it doesn't state it, is that what we're
Correct.
saying?
Yeah, yeah. Ripon Area Builders is including that electrical removal, yes, and reinstall.
So if anybody would like, I would entertain a motion to accept one of the bids. And then we'll have to, with the caveat that we'll have to do a budget transfer to pay for it.
Pole ash talks about they're gonna paint the door to match existing colors, does that matter? I don't see that listed on Ripon area builders, is that a big deal?
No,
No, it's not a big deal.
it's not a big deal to paint it. Yeah, we can paint it.
Okay.
We can do it ourselves, if he's not gonna paint them, correct. It says here they're prime exterior doors. Yes, and Pole Ash does state that he was gonna paint them in his shop and bring them down here. But we have guys here during the day that can hopefully paint, because they're gonna paint some other things once the weather gets nice as well.
Okay.
So, outside.
I make a motion to accept Ripon Area Builders. request
For the budgeted amount of 8,300, or not budgeted, for the amount of 8,300 with doing a budget transfer to pay for it. Okay, got that?
Do you wanna be more specific where that budget is transferred from?
It's coming from the fund balance.
I mean, should that be in the motion?
Could send somebody help me with the motion.
You're doing good.
That's pretty long.
should we do $8,300 exactly in the motion?
Yeah, because that's what the bid is.
Okay, it's dated till February, but
Will they accept 83?
I was just looking at that myself.
Yes. And it said this proposal may be withdrawn by us if not accepted within 7 days.
right.
Well, let's
Just tell them
just
that's what we had.
give it a shot.
Yeah. As you said, it's not that urgent. I mean, we want to get it done, but
I'd be willing to bet if you ask me, they're not gonna change.
Are you asking?
I'm trying to do
I was
this.
gonna ask him. The nice thing about being in a small town.
there's a motion on the table, I'll second it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is that who signs? What is it?
Oh, yeah, I can.
I mean, part of me likes that we move forward with as it was and say this is what was approved and letting them know if they don't accept it, well, then we have to go back for discussion. Part of me doesn't mind
I'll
that.
just do it in June
Yeah.
then, if they don't, if they
As-
don't
as you
accept
said.
it.
I think you'll stand by that $8,300. He's pretty good to work with. And if I have to come down here and help him, to cut the costs, I will.
Yeah, I guess that's part of the discussion that I wanted to ask. Do you feel comfortable working with who the motion is made for, Ripon Area Builders? Do you feel comfortable with them?
Yeah, I do.
Correct. And then just so folks know who are listening to, the reason why we're doing this is also for safety reasons. I mean, we need to do it.
Yeah.
Doors rusting out, that's what
Yep.
it knows.
Should we can move on to election of officers and come back to this.
Do you,
I was saying,
well, I thought we were gonna go vote on that.
Well, he's asking.
We're asking, but he might be busy.
Okay, we can vote on
Let's
it.
just vote on it.
Okay, and if it doesn't work out, we'll bring it back in June.
Right.
Okay, is there any other discussion on this?
No, it was like,
Okay, all those in favor, please, of accepting the Ripon Area Builders bid in the amount of $8,300, and the funds will come from a budget transfer from fund balance.
Okay, a motion to accept bid of Area Builders for $8,300 with a budget transfer of $6,300 from the fund balance. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Well, you don't want to replace the numbers. That's okay. Okay, now we're gonna do election of officers. Barry, you're gonna have to help me remember how to do this. I think you just raised hands, made nominations and then raised hands for voting. Okay, so we're gonna do president first. So any nominations from the floor for president?
I nominate Ellen Sorensen.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Then do we just vote on that, or do we ask for additional nominations?
Yes, for additional.
Are there any additional nominations? Do I have to say it 3 times? Are there any additional nominations? You're just making me do this. Are there any additional nominations? Okay. We will close nominations for president. Thank you all very much. And please vote by raising your hand.
For you.
Yeah. 5, okay, 5 is a majority, thanks. Now we need a vice president. So is there a motion for a vice president?
I'll make a motion to nominate
Jonathan?
Jonathan.
I wondered if that was gonna happen. Is there a second for that?
I'll second it.
Oh, you don't even know Jonathan. See what happens when you miss a meeting?
Pretty
8
cool.
o'clock, he's gonna be walking in.
We'll have to do like some kind of hail to the chief thing. Are there any other nominations for vice president? 3 times, huh? Are there any other nominations for vice president? Any other nominations for vice president? Seeing none, I will close the nomination. All those in favor of Jonathan Gadsky, please raise your hand. Okay, that's unanimous. 6. Okay, secretary treasurer. Gary's nominating Doug.
I nominate Mr. Iverson for secretary treasurer.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Jolene. Are there any other nominations? No? No. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Doug Iverson as secretary treasurer, please raise your hand. You're doing this just to be silly. 6, it was unanimous. Okay,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6, I voted. Oh, you didn't vote for
I didn't vote
yourself?
for myself.
Okay, 5, okay.
But it's still
Abstain.
enough. It's still enough.
All right, we're gonna move on to the exit interviews for former employees. Robert put something together for us. Jonathan's been wanting to do this for a long time. Trying to see if I can find what I did with
There's a really brief cover
it.
memo
I
on
moved
it.
my stuff
Is that
around.
this?
Looks like this.
Yeah, I read it.
No, I got
There
it.
it is. I got it.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the financials.
Okay,
I know we were back to work our financials, but I realized it's what we get.
so if Jonathan is willing to do these,
It's at the very end, the packet,
You know?
very end. The last thing you printed out.
No, I printed them out for him, so it should be here. I'll just give you mine.
No, here, I have it, I have it.
That's too late, here, take this one.
Right here.
You got two of them.
There, lay it like that.
That's still, you still, what, you got it?
Yeah.
I got two.
So the question, yeah, this was about 10 questions that you don't have to ask all of them. You can ask some, but I think it's good to at least provide some examples, and I tried to cover a broad area with just a few questions about, the basics, why you're leaving, what did you like about the job, what did you dislike about the job, where has the training met your needs, were you given the right training, was it quality training, were your expectations met, any improvements, in my experiences, usually that's where people open up and start, you get sometimes some verbal diarrhea almost at times. What did you, like I said, like most, like these, can massage these in any different way. I know, this is my opinion, it's important to have some set questions, but sometimes, just like a job interview, you want some follow-up questions too, and sometimes it's tough to script those questions early. So I don't think there would be anything off base that, if someone says, hey, this happened to me when I worked there, okay, I need to know enough about it. At some point, someone may have to say, okay, I need to stop and get some help, because this may be a more complicated matter than just knowing that the person left because I didn't like it. And, I think any of us, hopefully there's that line of, okay, when do I need to ask someone for some advice, for some legal advice, because this person just, let's say, said, this happened to me when I worked there, that's why I left. But this at least is the basis for it. We've had 2 people leave in the last couple months. Emily Horner left for a full-time job. She left fairly quickly,
is
so
that
we
the
weren't able
Tennessee
to.
person?
Yeah, weren't able to follow up with her. We do have contact information for her, but, and then Brandon most recently left, so.
Well, I think he wants to go back further.
Right, Jonathan would like to go further.
Jonathan, I don't think, wants to do the most recent. He wants to go back and find out why so many people left, and then see if we can structure things to retain people.
Right.
Because this is more about retention. We spend a lot of time on trying to hire, but we also have to spend time on retention.
Yeah.
So, I don't think this is an action item.
No, it was just a report last month.
Yeah.
I was asked to come up with a list of example questions that
Yep.
could be used for a.
So I can just give this to our new vice president when he shows up after 8. And we can move on.
Are we having a discussion on it?
Oh, yeah, we can.
I would like to see, I like all of these questions, and I would like to see one last question of, is there anything else you'd like to share? To
Yeah,
your point of having an open-ended.
yeah, yeah.
I think that would be a good addition.
I can amend the document and send it to you.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, that's perfect, Jolene.
And then, I guess it is, maybe this isn't the policy that will be developed with the exit interview, but do we ask who they would like it shared with? I think probably we should state that this will be in your permanent file.
They've
Right.
left
But they're not
already.
here anymore.
They're gone.
We don't keep a file on people once they leave?
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We do now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to, so it's a record that you created.
We could keep a record
So I
of
think there needs to be
exit.
a record of
We can
exit,
keep of exit
because
interviews.
it is could be a public record depending on how it's produced. So if someone takes notes on it, and they have a public records issue, so you should probably keep it.
Yeah, so I don't think we have individual folders for folks anymore, because they're no longer here. But we could have one folder for exit
I put them
interviews.
in the Manila folder,
Okay,
and they're all,
okay.
they're trying to.
Yeah.
And then I guess we probably should state up front that, this information will be shared with the board, right?
I think, I don't know if we want the board to know about it or if we want command, and if they, I would think,
I need to refresh my memory.
Yeah.
Because I think we,
if command looks at it and there's becomes a pattern of things that we need to fix from a policy standpoint, I think that the people should remain anonymous so that they can speak freely, and that, because you'll see if there's a trend. And then it's like an aggregate to have it be,
But I guess that's why we need a
Anonymous.
policy. Will the people be able to remain anonymous or will they not? How do
if
we
it's an
want
open
to?
records request, no.
So,
But if it's an aggregate report, you're not gonna know who said it.
I mean, like, Jonathan, who's gonna do the report, is gonna know, but when he comes here to give the report to us, he can just say, I did 5 exit interviews and we have an average of this is what I've been told, and we, as a command structure, we won't know who said what. We'll just know, I mean, he'll know who he talked to, but we won't know.
the policy that we had put, so the policy was the first step in this, we wrote that policy. It does talk about the exit interviews being confidential, so I can do some legwork to see if they're confidential, similar to a closed session document, so a job interview. If you conduct like a position, you bring in a candidate for chief and you want to interview him in closed session, the notes for that at times are not considered open records because they're notes from a confidential session. So I think we should clarify that before we give an answer.
And Jonathan wouldn't even have to put names on.
Yeah.
Are interviews and are there hiring reports when you guys get somebody new? Does the board learn about that?
We're supposed to.
There's some information that can be shared, and then there's like, the medical backgrounds can't be.
No, that's
Some of
different.
the background stuff generally is open because the people sign a waiver to have their, like, a criminal background
Right.
check done. But I guess, as I'm thinking about this, maybe I more akin this to you as a board is doing an interview with a candidate for a job, and you all wanna write notes about your interview, that necessarily doesn't become a public record.
Right.
That, because it's not like a score sheet or a specific matrix for scoring, where at times that can become a record. So I think it would be a good question that I can ask a couple people and see if there's a consensus opinion or if there's everyone's got their own opinion, and then we're gonna have to,
It might be a Jim Mason.
yeah, that's. I can
And the
just
other
check
thing
with
is,
that
we're
source.
not looking for specific people, we're looking for aggregate, we're looking for a pattern.
But somehow you have to track that in this, so there's gonna be notes. But, yeah, before we, I guess depends on how you record it, is probably gonna be important to whether or not it's a public record or not, so I think that's a better question. As to how it's obtained in an exit interview, because it's somewhat of a personnel matter, but someone's gonna, it's probably better for the aggregate report at this level, so you're not putting names to it. But as far as keeping it, if someone comes and says, I wanna see what this person said, and I'm filing an open records request, I think you need to we should have an answer for that before we do this.
Well, I don't think we have to worry about Jonathan jumping right in.
Yeah. I gotta talk to Jim on something completely different, and I'll just see if he'll give me free 5 minutes of legal advice for.
Okay.
Also,
Yes, sir.
you
I
know,
work Jim hard, man.
who's going to do the exit interviews after Jonathan's done from here on out?
Well, we're hoping that right now, in a perfect world, the chief or the deputy chief, somebody in command structure should be doing exit interviews when someone leaves. That's how a normal business or organization works.
Well, I have a question about that. Okay, let's assume, because John's chief economist can use his name, but let's say he doesn't get along with somebody that left. And the guy's got some legitimate gripes, and he just doesn't share them with us.
He could talk to Cody, or he could talk to Heather, or if he could, it'd be best to keep it with the command structure.
Could that be a request though, to do the exit interview with somebody else?
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
But I mean,
And they can
Or-
always refuse to do an exit
It could be
interview.
a request to one board member and one of us.
if he doesn't feel comfortable with one of us,
Right.
have like a board member, and that be you guys pick.
I just
Just
want
sit
to
in.
make sure we know what's going on, that something doesn't get,
And maybe if they leave and we give them a packet or whatever, it says, who would you like to do your exit interview, and they can pick.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
People can always refuse an exit interview. I refused an exit interview in once in my life.
But the
Because,
point is, we don't want that, and that's why if they're
No, you
refusing,
don't, you
we
don't.
wanna know why. So
Right.
having the question of who they know, who they can go to, it's a good discussion to have.
but remember, the person always has the right to decline.
Sure.
We don't want them to, but they always have the right to decline.
If it wasn't actually in an interview standpoint, if you just gave them a piece of paper roughly similar to this, and told them that you can fill it out at your own discretion whenever you want, as long as you turn it in before you leave, and again, they can refuse that if they want. That would leave it very open-ended for anybody that's feeling hardships
Threatened,
towards
yep,
anybody in
yep.
the department.
Yep. Yep.
I guess a good point, you could maybe do a face-to-face or just turn the form in, basically.
Yeah.
A and B.
That's a
Yeah.
good compromise.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any more discussion on that one? So we have an open meeting violation complaint has been filed against the board with regard to the March 21st meeting at Pierce. And Jim Macy is taking care of that, and the insurance company has been notified. So,
I got a question now.
okay.
As you all know, I was contacted,
Mhm.
and they are requesting whatever I posted.
Jim is taking care of it.
Okay, I guess my question is, if I get recontacted,
You refer them to Jim Macy. If you get contacted, just refer them, I have your email, well, no, I don't, I have, okay. I need an email from you so I can
You have
forward.
did I email you from my original?
I don't know, let me check, I'll make a note, I'll email you Jim Macy's contact
Okay.
information.
And email to supervisor too as well.
Okay. And just so you know, if Lyden can't make meetings, it'll most likely be Mr. Krieger.
Correct.
Should we know anything more about the situation
No,
here?
no, you shouldn't. This is it. This is what the attorney said we would talk about tonight.
would you send that Macy or Jim's information to me again?
Okay, okay.
Why don't you send it out to the whole board?
His contact information?
Yeah, I mean, if you send it to Lyden, I mean, I think I know how to contact him too, but don't we all want it? If we're-
No,
Okay,
no.
I heard you just say if someone is contacted.
They are town people. They are town people, so they may be contacted by the
By the
investigating
sheriff's department.
authority. So they need to have the information with Jim Macy. That's why, because we are a district with 3 different municipalities. Okay, and Barry. Does that make sense, Jolene?
Yeah, I just thought if you're sending it to other people, it makes sense that we all have it. If the answer is that if anyone contacts us, I heard you say if someone contacts you, then you should send them to Jim Macy, so I just thought it
No,
seemed prudent.
you would send them to me if you live in Ripon.
Okay,
If somebody contacts Gary, you would send it to Barry, and if somebody contacts either one of them, they had to go to the town sheriff.
okay. I mean, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
But
that's- you're
I
right.
thought that you had just said something different, but now I understand.
Yeah, it's because it's the municipalities, it's
Yeah.
not individuals.
Yeah.
not yet.
No, it won't be, it won't be, it won't be. Okay, so that's just an informational piece. And I'll do that tonight, yeah, Barry and like, okay, fundraisers. Jolene had asked that this be on the agenda, and I asked Heather to put together information on fundraisers. And then, in an effort to be efficient, it would be useful to have an ad hoc committee appointed for fundraising, and that may be firefighters and board members and whoever else. It's not useful to try to do these things as a committee of the whole. So Heather, did you wanna, here,
Thank you, because I printed one out for everybody else but myself. Like everybody knows, we have the chicken barbecue the first weekend of, March. And we take that money, we put it into our account, and we, the association votes on whatever needs we feel, the money should go towards to help out with tools or whatever. This year we have not made a decision yet on what we're gonna use the money for. We're kind of waiting to see how everything plays out for a while. We also work with the Ripon College Adults on a firefighter run. That was held in April. Those proceeds go towards fire prevention materials for Fire Prevention Week and the open house in October. So what that does is we buy like handouts and stuff like that. And then we give them to the kids in the community when they come into the fire station for the open house. In the past, we've had brat fries. Those have gone towards tools also. And we've had raffles. The proceeds from the raffles were split between the district for the upstairs and then the association for the memorial wall. So the raffle was split 50-50 on the first raffle that we had, and 50% went to the district, and as a donation, the chief used it for the upstairs, to work on the upstairs. We used our half towards the memorial wall. And then the last time we had a raffle, we split it, and then the association decided to donate it to the chief for the upstairs. So he got the whole profit amount from the raffle for his upstairs, for the upstairs. In the past, our what we've spent our money on is the Survive Alive trailer, which we take to Barlow Park Elementary School, and the little kids, K through 2, second grade. They, we teach them how to get out of a house safe and everything like that. So that's used for, so we bought, the association bought that. We bought the Jeep grass rig, painted it, outfitted it, and everything for grass season. The Polaris, which is a 6-wheel ATV type thing that we use for grass fires. We bought water rescue suits, one of the 2 thermal imaging cameras that we have out in the rigs, half of the antique engine that we split with the district. And then the burn tower, we put whatever money that was not donated from Ripon Truck and Repair. He donated most of the materials and the time, and then we paid the rest. And then we bought the bricks for the memorial wall out front, and the REFD logo leather recliners that are up in the day room upstairs, the bed frames and the mattresses, along with other items for the upstairs. We also hand out 2 $500 scholarships each year to the graduating seniors. So that's pretty much.
You got a question for you?
Oh.
So I appreciate, this is good information, and it's good that we can celebrate what we've done and what you've done, together, the association and the board. I think when I originally asked for this, the point of me asking about, I wasn't necessarily asking about a report of fundraising, although I appreciated that. And I
no,
think
this
that,
is just to let you know what's currently being done.
yeah, but you said it was requested by me. My point was, I wanted to know from either the association or, firefighters, I guess that is a whole, that is the association, right? What are things that you see are needs moving forward? I think that, because sometimes we're asked to approve money to go towards something, and if we knew what the priorities were, then we could say, oh yeah, this was a priority, this makes sense. And then also people listening, they can think, oh, I'd like to help, I see that that's a priority for the fire district, they can't pay for that yet, maybe that's what I'll help support. So I think it helps for 2 reasons. One, it helps us as a board to be more informed, to know that, oh yeah, there was discussion that this is a priority, and 2, for people that want to give, I think it gives people avenues to know what you're looking at, and helps you be able to fundraise more clearly.
So you don't, I'm very confused. I am very confused. So you don't want to have a prioritization of fundraising or fundraising activities? You want to be more passive about this?
I'm not sure that that's what I was saying. I was saying I wanted a prioritization of what the needs are of things that should be fundraised for.
So we'll just,
But wait a
Like a
minute, you're not
county tool.
talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly,
But
right
you're
there.
not, but you're not talking about fundraising, but what you're talking about is very passive. So you're not talking about putting together a structured fundraising effort. You're talking about just a very passive, we're gonna say in a meeting where if anybody wants to send us money, they can.
Yeah, because I think it was about 2 meetings ago, we were asked to vote on if we wanted to fund, maybe it was a county tool. And then my point was, well, how do we know, is this a priority? How, as a board member, it feels, it doesn't, if I'm not informed what the firefighters want, why would I say I approve this?
So you're not talking about fundraising per se?
No, but we could, that's another thing.
No.
You know,
Confused.
No, what I'm saying is, I am not proposing that we start a fundraising committee, that wasn't my point, but I would be happy to serve on a fundraising committee if that is something that wants to be. But my point was, if we as a board are asked to approve funds to go towards things, I just wanted to know, do we have a list of what the priorities are?
Okay, I think I'm getting clearer on this. Typically, when we begin the budgeting process, we look at things that are needed, and if we can afford it, we put it in the budget. And at that time is when you get that list of things that's like a normal budgeting procedure. You're asking for something different than that.
Or having that laid out more clearly, because I mean, right now, can we pull out a list of the wish list right now? Basically, it's a wish list of what the fire department wants, right? And so again, when we're asked to approve of funding from a, I think this was previous to the chicken barbecue. It was said, we should have something that the public can get behind to fundraise. And then you asked us, and my point was, well, instead of asking the board, what is the priority of the fire district? And then we can say, oh yeah, this is important.
So, just question. You're asking what the priorities are of the fire district or of the firefighters?
Well, that's the process. What is our process of
Well, I
that?
don't think we've had a process.
That's why I'm asking, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Kind of have had a process.
Okay,
The board never really got involved in what the firefighters wanted to do with their money. Until they had their own account, we had our account. and
you're
then-
talking about the association.
I'm talking about the association.
Okay.
Took care of their own, they had their own
Yep,
money in the bank. We
They
didn't
still
have
do.
anything to do with it.
okay.
And then they changed the law, or somebody said we were breaking the law, and we had to, the fire district they have to oversee the association's funds. When you do the audit and everything, that's all under there. I mean, we're still, even though it's their money, we're still responsible for that money. But we've never told them they couldn't spend the money, we've never told them where they,
Are you a 501c3? They're a separate organization,
then why is it under our audit?
because they think it's less expensive that way, and they can see funds that as they're transferred back and forth. They're a
Right.
separate organization.
But I think,
Right, they are separate, but they're they're a fundraising arm of the department, so that
we're
is, I
still an
think,
umbrella over them.
I think this is why they get audited, it's not just because it's
Yeah.
cheaper for them, but it's so that we can track any potential off-the-record transfers and books and stuff, because that's an issue with another entity in the city too, but we won't
Do
get
you
into
have your
that.
articles of incorporation?
Yeah, in my filing cabinet.
We better look at them.
But I do know that they used to be, they were not, we didn't have anything to do with it.
And now I
know
think you've
that-
been working.
And then all of a sudden, they said, no, you are responsible for some of that.
Are you talking about the auditor said that?
I don't remember the auditor,
Do you
I
remember?
believe it was the auditor.
I believe it was.
Okay. Because that money goes back and forth. Because you,
They've got it
Transfer money.
segregated, but it's.
Yeah.
We don't transfer any money to the district.
oh, you pay for things separately, so none of your money runs through the books in the district?
No, I don't think
Okay.
it does, but.
Okay.
No, we run our own books and everything. We don't, like, whenever we wanna do something, like, I'll use the Jeep as an example. We bought, the association bought the Jeep, we painted it, we put the pump and everything in it. We came to before we did all that, we came to the board and said, if we do this, if we buy this Jeep and we put the pump in it, we get it all ready for grass season, and we donate it to the district, will you maintain it? And then you guys voted yes. And so we put all the money in it, all the money came out of our checking account, and then when it was all done, we came into the board meeting and said, it's all done, here you go, we're donating it to the district. And they said, okay, and then they took over the maintenance on that from then on. So if we do everything on our own and then we donate whatever to the district for the district to maintain, like the burn tower, all that was paid for, and then we donated it to the district for them to maintain.
Can I ask a question, just because
Sure.
I'm green?
That's fine.
If the association does something 9 times out of 10, does the district maintain it? I mean, if you guys bought the Jeep, does the district go along and maintain it?
We usually ask before we
Are
put
there
the
any
money.
instances where that hasn't happened, or does that basically cancel out the request of the association? Like if you, say the board would have said, no, we don't want to, or the districts didn't want to maintain it, would the association have bought the Jeep?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So basically, without, and I don't know because I'm very new at this, you're governing yourselves, yet the board is responsible for where these funds are allocated, even though we're not technically in charge of that. I mean, you guys wouldn't have bought something if we weren't going to take responsibility of maintaining it, correct? Chief?
Just donation.
It's hard to say. 'Cause
I would
it's-
say on your bigger dollar items, maybe not, but on the smaller ones, we would continue
Okay.
to
Yeah.
fund it ourselves. I know we have Freddie, the fire truck out front,
Yeah.
that's ours, we
The
don't.
scholarships, for instance, that's never come to the board, you know, we wanna give 2 scholarships.
And for $1,000, sure, but and that's where I was curious,
And
like,
I think the reason we probably wouldn't, if we brought the Jeep up and you guys said, no, we don't want to, I think we still would have wanted to, but to try and keep track of what we own versus what the district owns,
And what you can use.
because we're going through different
insurance.
boards. And so I think we're just kinda like, well, okay, no, cause it's just gonna confuse everybody as to who bought what.
So
Right.
Jolene's recommendation that the district have a list of things that are a priority for purchase is really good, because then maybe, because you all serve on the association, so then you know what the district needs and what the district would be willing to maintain. And then maybe we could have that by, like July, so that we can put things in the budget. Or then if we have to fundraise, we know we have to fundraise. I'm not real fond of passively fundraising, but like even for the truck, we should talk about at some point with the truck, how we want to involve people in the truck. If we want to, we know that the city is already putting money aside for it, you guys have your way of doing it, but sometimes kids might wanna have something to do and participate, so.
I do have one question for you though, as far as, you said that you wanted the district to basically have a wish list, correct? Jolene, yes?
Yeah, well, your question was asking, is it the firefighters or the district? I mean, hopefully
No, I
it would
meant
be together, but,
But when you asked the question, or at least did I have this right, that you weren't asking for the association's per se wish list, it would be the district? So what I'm going for is, you had mentioned the public, so that people watching would have some input on this. correct?
I don't
or
know
no?
if I said that they have input, my only point is, maybe people see that, and who knows, maybe someone would come out. I'm not saying that that's specifically why we move forward with this, but if there is a wish list, people might be inspired to say, oh, I didn't know the district needed this. So, I'm not saying that they have, I don't know if people from the general public would be able to have,
No, and-
input, you know, in a way that was
And to respond before anybody else, that was my point, you made it. I just wanted to make sure that that was not where you were going to have people, the general public, having a wish list, because who is going to go through all that? That was all I wanted.
No,
I
I
think-
don't know.
I think-
But
I think
if it's being recorded, I don't wanna say, I don't want the general public to not be able to give input. So I don't wanna be
No,
locked
and
in here
I don't
with what
mean-
you said, because they can come and have their public comment. My only point was, this was so that internally professionals, people that are on the ground floor, are providing us a wish list so that we are better informed, right?
One of the things that I think will come out of a strategic planning is we'll do like a SWOT exercise, so strengths, weakness, opportunity, threat. So my common experience is when you get to the weakness point is that firefighters or people will say, boy, we don't have this, or we should have this piece
Yeah.
of equipment. And that will help come to that department need list. So what's the board's, and then the board can look at that as a budgetary process.
Yeah.
So the firefighters may say, we need new turnout gear. Our turnout gear is old. And that may be a weakness of the department, and then you can create this is our priorities, and then the board has to look at that and say, can we afford it? Is it really old? Or, like when you got a car, it's 2 years old, is it an old car or a new car? Everyone's got a different opinion on that. But that I think will come out of, maybe we need more extrication equipment, or we need different hose, that type of thing. So I would potentially just let that process roll through, and then by the time you get to your budget process, that may be apparent to prioritize your spending. But from a fundraising standpoint, as far as the association, maybe they want to fundraise or contribute something else that's not maybe a department need, but they have a specific, the members of the department or the association say, boy, we really want some sort of extra thing on our uniforms. And you as a board say, that's not really our priority, would the association mind it?
Yeah.
So does that help?
Oh, yeah, I hope it does. And Heather, I didn't mean to cut you off, and you're just saying, I just wanted to clarify to people listening, but what were you going to say?
No, you clarified yourself. No, I was just gonna try and help you.
So a slope is a great way to do that because you really need to hear from the boots on the ground. And then if we can get that, and I started putting the budget together in August.
Yeah. Well, we're almost done. And back to Joel's earlier question, that would be something where we say to the whole department, show up. And on Monday night, we're gonna do the SWOT exercise. That's where everyone can have an input. Smaller group sort of says, how's the best way to do that with the members of the department?
Great, thanks.
Well, I'm glad we clarified that. I was thinking we were talking about a formal fundraising plan. Okay, we're gonna move on. So this is, I think, the annual maintenance for the trucks, right?
Yep.
Okay,
So your next set of quotes is from Renner. They came in and they did our annual inspection, maintenance of some of our rigs, the bigger rigs. I believe it's 11, 12, 13, engine 14, engine 16, and truck 17, and squad 18. They worked on. And they found issues with, I think, every single vehicle.
11 is a penny.
And, well, you gotta read the note in engine 11.
What does
So-
that mean?
So the quotes are, and I highlighted on all of yours what vehicle you're looking at the bottom. And, but that's how much it is to repair what they found wrong with the vehicle.
Because this is,
Okay, Heather,
Yep.
I've got this.
Yep,
which is 0, because that's engine 11.
It's
That's
engine
the one-
11, yep.
That's the one where, which engine is this?
that is unit 12, so it's gonna be a tender.
Look at that, they moved that.
Yeah, it's because
Who moved my cheese?
there's more stuff.
Okay.
That's the,
Which one are we replacing?
Engine 11,
Okay. And that will be in 3 years.
2025, yes.
December of 20, yeah,
2025.
December of 20.
Yes.
You just wanna go through like from 11 to engine 11, or you just let them read it, so what do you
I
wanna
think I'm just gonna let them, if they have any questions, I guess they can ask.
do? So engine 11 does need work, correct?
Engine 11 does need work, it did not pass its DOT inspection. Let me find that one in here. Yep. They could not find a vacuum, could not find vacuum leak due to rapid vacuum loss, will need further diagnosis. Transfer valve will not switch from volume to pressure. Let's see. The pump test truck pumped wells during capacity overload and 70% test for transfer valve will not transfer from volume to pressure mode. Need to diagnose vacuum leak due to rapid volume loss. And then it says the chassis inspection, vehicle failed DOT inspection due to driver's side rear triple light being inoperable.
What was inoperable?
the light.
Lights, the 3 triple lights in the back. Those 3 lights,
Cheap repair, might rust out.
yeah.
Just a big deal, I mean,
But it does not, we can't, you can explain this better. We can't use the back section because it loses its vacuum.
Right, it loses prime, yeah. It's sucking air in and then it loses its prime. And this has been an ongoing thing for a few years, and it's been overlooked. So, I don't know what the total bill, did they give you a total bill?
They did not, because according to this thing, the previous chief had opted out of making these fixes. And when I asked them, he said, it's been about 2 years before they've ever.
You're the vice president.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
welcome to another year on the fire board.
So I
I could try, you can,
don't, okay, so subtotal is what, I'm just asking, so I don't understand these. So for unit 12, you have a subtotal of 1,072.33, and then a subtotal of 250.
If you look at, because one's labor and parts, one's labor for different items that need to be fixed, and then there's labor parts for another. So they subtotaled each different section.
But they didn't total the whole thing?
Yes,
What the heck?
yeah, it's down at the bottom,
Yeah.
$2,460.70.
Oh, that's the total?
You have 2 subtotals.
Okay, all right, that's what I was wondering. So what's the total dollar amount, Heather, to fix all of this stuff, except for 11, because we don't have,
13, but I mean,
yeah, so this will 30,000.
yeah.
and there is money in the budget for it.
How much?
Well, there's 12,589.
But, hang on,
Just so everybody knows too, there's 2 different things here, kind of, there's the pump testing on these, and then there's also the DOT inspections that need to get done on these as well. So that's where you're seeing some of these tie rod ends need to be fixed, and pumps and stuff. This is total chassis pump to replace and fix.
so the budget amount is the 12,589. But these are the bills for the repair, for the maintenance and testing on them. And that totals $7,098.
So we're talking 20,000.
So yeah, so what,
Basically,
so that
okay.
leaves us $5,491 after paying to have the tests
But you
done.
also have a budget line of 10,340 for general repair of larger equipment.
Correct.
So there is enough money in the budget to cover all of this, except we don't have any information on 11.
And I can ask to get a quote, but I wasn't sure if
Well,
wanted to do.
do you have to take it out of commission if it's not gonna be DOT worthy? I mean, I'm not, I don't know.
Depends on if it picked up and DOT decked it.
I think the DOT, it sounds like it would pass if just the lights are fixed.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I got the impression of. So you fix the lights are DOT worthy.
Would you like to read?
Yeah.
And you're speaking of 11, right?
Yeah. But
Because that's the one we're replacing.
Right.
Yep.
my assumption is that the list will be longer. Like the vacuum leak, that could be probably a lot of labor to diagnose that. Transfer valve.
They're under there, have it running.
Yeah, transfer valve, depends on what's wrong with it. And like the vacuum, so you guys do a lot of drafting,
Yep.
that's important to have it working. Because that's important to non-heightened operations, to be able to draft water.
How are you making it work now? Because you take it out once in a while.
Very rarely.
Yeah.
That's not a priority engine. Maybe 16, 14. It's working, you know, we make it work. Not that we've had to do much scrapping on it. Relay pumping from hydrant to another engine, then we don't need the vacuum.
But if you wanted to sell it,
So it is.
I'm just, because we had that discussion.
It's not gonna go for much.
Do we stick $30,000
No,
into it?
I get it. I
To sell it in 2
agree.
years?
But I'm just,
You gotta weigh your options there, yeah.
Yeah, you would, and I don't know the answer to this, but the option is you have 2 other engines, do you need 3 engines?
And we also have 2
Do
tenders
you
that
have
are
enough people
pumpers,
to staff all that equipment?
pumpers as well.
Yeah,
2 tenders
two
are
tenders
pumpers,
that can pump.
pump as well.
so is it even worth fixing?
Put that on for put that on for discussion item about getting rid of it.
We can put any kind of discussion item on for next month, I mean.
Maybe worth getting an estimate to fix it, and then once you know what that is.
Let's get an estimate, but we're gonna get rid of it in 2.5 years or so.
So you want Brennan's to do an estimate out for engineering.
Yeah.
So Heather, what was the numbers again to fix all this stuff in this package?
It's about 20 grand,
With
wasn't it, with,
Well,
with
well,
all
look
your,
at the
13,000 for the
13,000, yeah, it's around 13,000 for just the repairs. And then the bill for having them come out and do the annual maintenance and the DOT inspection was $7,098.
So we're looking in the ballpark of 20,000 plus, which is in the budget.
So also when looking at these, is everything that Reynolds is stating on here, quote unquote, a need unless they say recommend? I noticed for unit 17, it said with the ball joints torn, we recommend replacement of all 4. They say that maybe, in this case, you could just replace 1, but they recommend all 4. Is that the only item that is
It's best to not just do one, I mean, I even know that.
I guess,
And I know, but that's not my question. My question is everything on here a need versus a want? It sounds like it is.
well, yeah, because like if you, and I get what you were saying with 17, because I had the same question. And he said, we've already gotten it torn apart for 1. What happens in 6 months if the other one tear, he says, then you're ripping it apart, you're paying for you're paying for all the labor to tear it apart again. So this way, then you know that they're all fresh, new.
And labor's usually more than parts.
Yes.
Yeah, I see that on here.
The total Gary to have repair everything is $13,560.49.
How much was
I thought
it?
it was 7,000 for the test and 13,000 for the repairs.
Well, $13,560
For the repairs.
For the repairs, yeah. We just kind of rounded it to 13, but it's $560.49.
We're talking,
And that's not including engine block.
we're talking 20 grand.
Yes.
I
Either way, you're talking 20.
think we get it done.
Are you making a motion?
I make a motion to get it done.
Here you go. Is there a second?
I second it.
We have a second. Is there any further discussion?
You know me, I would request that you are more specific as far as saying, in the motion that to use renters to pay for all repairs that are stated. I would request that the motion is more specific.
He's written it more specifically.
I'm trying to write more specific. Motion to authorize,
RENNERTS.
Renards to repair, what are we looking at? 12,
12, 13, 14.
14, 8, 16,
And 17.
and 17.
17 the engine, or the.
The recommended repairs totaling, what was the amount?
13,560,
49?
49.
49.
Okay.
And then we're gonna pay the bill anyway.
Right,
Yeah.
we have to pay the $7,090.
Is that gonna be in a separate, we need to?
No,
No,
that's a bill.
that's
We
a
gotta
bill,
pay
okay.
those.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we had a motion by
Gary?
Page and Rasmus, okay. Okay. Can we vote on it?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? You wanna read it out loud back for
Sure.
everybody?
Motion to authorize Renards to repair Unit 12, Unit 13, Unit 14, Unit 16, Unit 17 of the recommended repairs totaling $13,560.49. Motion by Page and second by Rasmussen.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to the SSM Health EAP contract. We should have a motion to sign this. Have you ever done that before, or do you just sign it? Just sign it?
No, I just put it on the
Just
agenda.
signed it? Okay.
How much is it for?
I think that if you look at the back page, it's like $1,000. But don't quote me on that, I can look it over.
$1,000 annual fee. That's very reasonable.
So that would say the board has to approve it.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the SSM EAP, which is the Employee Assistance Program Service Agreement for 2023?
About $1,000?
$1,000.
I move to approve.
Thank you, Jolene. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any further discussion?
I like that our McMahon and Associates, and I think our current chief also had said that, EAP is important.
Yep.
And I think that's really great as a district that we stand by that.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, it passes. Review of bid for hot water heater.
Our current hot water heater that is out in the apparatus bay has came through its life expectancy. It's leaking water internally now and shorting out the element, so it is gonna need repair. We are still looking, I have a bid here right now, but he stopped by me today and he talked to me. There are some other options we are going to look at. As you can see, the first bid there from Quality Plumbing was $8,995 for that hot water heater out there. It sounds expensive.
Sounds awful expensive.
It does. It is
12 times more expensive.
it's all electronic. This thing is electronic heater. And this hot water heater serves the apparatus bay for our washing machines and a couple of our sinks out there. We have a hot water heater in the tool room here as well. but that supplies this side of the shop, of the office stuff.
In the bathroom.
Bathrooms and stuff like that, yep, and the kitchen, so that hot water heater serves that. But this big one out there is for, like I said, the washing machines and 2 sinks and a shower down in the wash bay. We talked with Kent Hughes both. He has come up with a couple of other options here, possibly. The biggest thing is we're looking at adding another washing machine. The problem we got right now, we have 2 washing machines out there, and those 2 are used for our turnout gear when we come back from fire calls. So then we're also using them to washers for our washing our towels and stuff, and kitchen stuff.
Doesn't work that good.
So we're contaminating, we're cross-contaminating. So to get away from that, we're gonna have to put in another washing machine strictly for kitchen towels and stuff like that. So he brought up, maybe we could, depending upon what draw these washing machines take for hot water, he could possibly put in a tankless, which would be half the cost. We're still looking at some different options there. He talked with Barry and I today a little bit. Or we could go with a commercial grade, normal hot water heater like we have in our houses, kind of.
Yeah.
And that would be half of that price. But until we know for sure what these washing machines draw for hot water, we're kind of limited on what we can do until we know that.
Can I throw out a question?
Sure.
Going back to the washer, so if you're looking at getting a washer, how did you get the 2 that are out there? Were they donated from Alliance?
Yes,
Okay.
and I'm working on getting, the next
Are they
washer.
extractor? Are they bigger?
They're the big one, yeah.
They're
they're the
big.
big
Can you, I know I was asking a lot, and I could reach out too, because I still have a lot of friends there. Maybe get one with a heating element in it, so you're not even pulling any hot water at all. Because they do make them.
Okay, because right now, Tony Burton works at Alliance. He gave me contacted somebody at Alliance and they sent me this form I have to fill out to get the new washer and dryer for the towel, I guess it's in towels and stuff. And I'm in the process of filling that out right now, so,
Just let me know who you send it to, or maybe Tony can let me know.
okay,
I can reach out.
okay.
A gallon is your current water heater.
50 maybe? 45, 50? No, it's short, it's a short little one.
If I thought Tony said it was 100. In email.
Did you think about it?
We can show it to you, but I
Could
think,
you do
I'll take
tankless?
your word for it. Does it keep up with your needs or no?
yeah.
Yeah, that one does.
But I just priced one out, and the tankless were a lot more expensive. Most of them were gas, and the problem I was having, because I'm an LP, which would have had to run it. To get the flow that I thought I was gonna need, you need to run a bigger gas line, which would have cost more. So I just put a smaller gas water heater in, because they're always hot. Some of those electrics are on time of day, on a timer, which affects how much you have to pay for electricity. You can save how you can save a pile of money if you get a big water heater, electric, and then you put it on time of day. But if you get company over and they all decide to take a shower in the morning, you can't wash the dishes at night because the time of day hasn't kicked in, so it's at off peak hours. I don't know why your water softener, or a water wash machine would take much more than like a 40 gallons or.
And did you say it's electric now? Or gas?
It is gas.
It is gas.
Yeah, it is.
Ours is gas up there.
Is it funny to ask, I know that there's been a big push to use cool water and that our current laundry detergent is made for colder water, or do we know that having hot water really does make a difference?
You can't wash what they're washing.
That's what I mean,
Cold
I want to
water.
hear, I want to
Yeah,
hear.
no,
The-
for fire.
To
Okay.
get the carcinogen off of our gear, we have to have hot water.
Okay,
And
That's a myth,
so, yeah.
unless you're a clean job, a really clean job.
And the cancer-causing carcinogens that are all in this equipment, we're trying to combat that.
and so the hot water helps.
Yeah, and hot water helps, and then,
Okay.
we're not contaminating others. So, and our station stays cleaner that way too. We don't have all that stuff in our gear.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we'll be able to make a motion on this tonight to put a new one in yet. I think there's still a lot of unknowns before we make a decision, I think.
Are you able to wait a whole month though? I mean, what is the current practice gonna happen?
Well, if we don't get any structure fires, we don't need to wash any equipment. I don't know the right answer on this.
There is money in the budget under contingency, there's $16,000 in contingency. There's nothing available for repair and maintenance of a water heater.
Can I just ask again, is this a direct replacement, this quote, or
This is a direct replacement, correct?
to me, that seems pretty steep.
Yeah, this, I would not vote to spend $8,000 for
Nine,
a damn water heater.
it's about nine.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I have an 80-gallon Will Smith for my dairy facility, and I got more hot water than I can deal with, and I don't think I spent over, that was a few years ago, but 18 to 2,500
I
bucks.
was gonna say about a couple grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got
That was
70.
not installed, I did it myself, but that's, and they're good, Ale Smiths are good, but that seems steep to me.
I agree.
Do you wanna postpone and get another quote?
I'd like to see another quote.
Yeah, I'd agree with
Well,
that.
I think maybe we need to go back to him, because if he does have different options, maybe get us a quote for each of the options, and we can, and then get a quote for all those options from another person, another business.
I was gonna
You compare
say,
'em.
also to the tune of what Gary was saying about tankless, I know for a boiler, I was going to get a tankless one, and the way they size the capacities on them for what you potentially would be looking at for washing the trucks, I think you'd be looking at a massive tankless water heater. I think it would be.
wash the trucks.
We don't
You don't wash
wash
trucks in hot?
No.
Okay,
No.
okay.
No, this is just for the shower that hardly ever gets used down in the wash bay, the two sinks that are one's in the wash bay, one's next to the washing machines, and then the two washing
Okay.
machines.
Oh, I shouldn't say we don't wash trucks in hot water, we do, but we have a power washer for that.
Yeah.
It's kerosene fired,
Oh, okay.
so we have a power
Okay.
washer to wash
Gotcha.
trucks if
Yeah.
we need to.
Yeah, if we need to go.
By the way, I'm not against tankless water heater, but I know they're a little more expensive, but I'm sure they're not
They're not
any more
that.
expensive than this.
No, they're not. I've
And I,
been
you know,
pricing them
I'm not,
I thought you said $2,500 today.
for tankless.
I think.
Yeah, I've been looking at them. That's what I do for fun. Yeah, living the life.
Are we able to vote on this through, I guess, phone or email?
No,
No.
public meeting. We have to notice.
I mean, if you did notice it, yeah, that's what I'm saying, you'd go through the proper channel, let's say in a week, you
Well, how
got.
about we can meet again if he gets more, but we could call a meeting and meet.
And post it.
Look, we're already being looked at for a violation, so we're not gonna do anything electronically. We'll do it here, we can call a meeting.
we really have two choices. We can either say, John, find something under $3,000 or $2,000 and buy it, or we
Yeah.
can wait till we get a
What,
thing back.
what is your procedure if something fails? I mean, you don't.
Well, that's a
If it's an
problem.
emergency, the president can authorize expenditures, because I also read bylaws and policies and procedures when I'm not looking at water tank, tankless water heaters.
So if something were to happen, you're covered.
Correct. Yeah.
Then I have to bring it back to the board, of course.
I'll put a rush on it, see if we can get it within the week here.
Okay.
But to your
Alright.
point, we could authorize something up to a certain amount
Yep.
if we wanted to
that.
tonight.
We should do
Well, I
that.
mean, if you did that, and then if he can't get one over there, then we just bring it back to the board too. That's,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So either way, we're covered.
Yep.
Wonder if they know how much we could charge.
Oh, yeah, if they're watching, yeah, good point.
Get a lot of quotes coming in right at that point.
That's true.
Okay, are you okay with postponing?
Yeah.
Okay. And if something happens, let me know. Okay, review of bids for water bottle filling station. This is an action item also. And
It has been approached by the fire members, that they would like a water bottle filling station. Right now, we buy bottled water for fire department, for fire scene usage, and it gets drank up by the fire members. So they had asked if we could possibly get a water bottle filling station. And we have two quotes. One quote is to replace the whole, I'm gonna call it a bubbler, the bubbler and the top to fill the bottles. And then the other quote is just to add the existing bottle filling station on top of the bubbler we already have out in the apparatus bay.
filling stations are fabulous. That you cut down on the plastic from the bottles, and the Fond du Lac School District had them, and they were
They were great.
Ripon School District has them too.
Yeah.
That's what's at the bubblers.
They work great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just, everybody carries their own, thing, and you just put your water under it.
How much water do you typically go through on a fire scene? Bottle.
Out there, we'd have to go with bottled water. We can go through 2 to 3 cases, it just depends on how big the fire is.
And
Okay.
they'd
And how many
they'd
people we
still
have
buy
there.
that, I'll bet.
But they drink a lot of water here, too.
Yeah, the date,
But my question then is, if everybody has a personal container, you are gonna be way short of water, if that's all the water you're taking, so you're still buying bottled water plus?
you'd still buy bottled water for at the scene. This is for like, when we're down here at training, instead of them going and grabbing a bottle of water, all should have to have a bottle.
And it's for the daytime guys too that are
For the
here.
daytime crews
You
that's
know,
here all day
They're here
long.
for 10 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and they're going and getting bottled water out of the cooler, and sometimes they're being left half full and laying around, and it's sometimes a mess too. So this way here, they're responsible for their own water bottles, obviously, like Robert has here.
Well, I was gonna say, I just saw something happen with a fountain that works pretty slick, not gonna lie. Not to say that this isn't warranted, but I've never used a bottle filling station.
Oh, they're great.
Now, is this bottle filling station going to filter the water too?
Use the bubbler.
I believe so, yeah.
It's right here.
Okay.
So like this isn't comparing apples. One wants to change out the whole drinking fountain and then adding the bottle filling station on top of that. And then this other one is just to change what we already have and put the bottle filling station on top of what we've already got out there.
Which Atomic has in there, 1980 for the station and $575 for labor and materials. So would that be apples to apples on what quality is given you? That 1,300 or no?
Yeah, it would.
Well, they're not replacing the pump, they're adding.
Well, if you look at Atomics on the top, they have estimate to replace the existing drinking fountain. So, yeah, because they're gonna get rid of what we already got out there and put a new one in, so that one's the $2,555. And then to add the top onto it with the labor and everything would be another $2,421.65.
Yeah, and Quality Plumbing is just saying the existing water station or cooler,
It's staying there.
yeah,
We're
they
just gonna
add the
it
thing
onto
on top.
Yes. So yeah, if you took the 2,555 off of Atomics on the top to replace the existing drinking fountain, their total would be the $2,421.65. Would be apples to apples with with Quality.
Well, Quality doesn't say anything about a filter, but then neither does the second one, the one for 2,421, that's a non-filter, right?
No, the Atomic one calls out filtering.
No, the first one says a filtered, for the 2,555, but the one for 2,421.
I think the bubbler's already filtered.
This is not.
So then,
I could be wrong.
The $2,400 one is not filtered.
yeah, that's what it says.
Okay, I'm sorry, yep. Without an internal filter, yes.
And your bubbler does have a filter now, or not?
I don't believe it does. No,
I don't know.
no, it's straight city water, it's not filtered.
So my guess is if it doesn't say it, Quality Plumbing also is not adding a filter. So the question comes down to, one, do we want to do it, and then if we do want to do it, do we want it filtered or not filtered, right?
Mhm.
Just drink that good city water.
It's fine.
I mean, I like a filter, but on the same token, if we're already drinking the bubbler right now, we're saying it's safe. I mean.
Right.
I got another faucet. I'm used to city water.
So what does the filter actually do? Does it reverse osmosis type thing, or is it just a regular?
It's probably just gonna build that things up, little jumps,
Yeah, little paper filter
How do
probably.
you- How
which
long?
just go down anyway.
Well, and I think with the filter, because I think when we first started discussing this, my question was, are we gonna have to change the filter every so many
Yeah.
Gallons.
months or use it? Because my one at home I have to change every 6 months. That's
Don't
just
it cause more trouble than they're worth sometimes if they start getting something growing in it?
Right.
Unless it costs you $125, $45. That's why he probably has it for the replacement filter, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So they give us one replacement filter, so you're gonna be replacing the filter at $125
Every time.
every month, yeah.
What is your pleasure, folks?
I make a motion to approve the quality plumbing proposal.
A
Is there a
second.
second? Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I,
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, the motion passes. So, board discussion, communication. Barry has received a letter for the board, which he would like to read. When you're finished with it, would you give it to Mr. Iverson attached to the minutes?
I would give him this copy,
Okay.
the copy I have. I
Okay.
enlarged it so I could read it.
Okay.
And it shows more pages, but
Okay.
it's the same. I was contacted by text about this letter, asking me if I was sent this letter, if I would read it in front of the board. I texted him back, told him I would. He did sign it. And if he wouldn't have been anonymous, we wouldn't be reading it. So just bear with me here a little bit. I found out today this lens in my glass isn't quite right. But I feel I owe it to him that I should read it, not somebody else. This is an open letter to the board of the Ripon Area Fire District. After seeing what has taken place at the Ripon Area Fire District during the last several months, and after watching recordings of the last few fire board meetings, I felt the need to pass on my feelings and observations. I am very disappointed and disgusted with the actions that have been taken by the president of the board. The insinuations and accusations pertaining to former Fire Chief Tim Saul are despicable and pathetic. Anyone who knows him, and I know him well, would tell you that in no way, shape, or form would the misappropriate tax dollars, abuse credit card privileges, and above all, jeopardize firefighter safety. Over the last 4+ years, I have been to many training nights, fire scenes, and community events. In every aspect, Chief Saul exemplified the qualities of what Ripon and its surrounding areas would want in a fire chief. On many occasions, he personally provided training and passed on to his firefighters years of his personal firefighting experience. I saw the passion he had trying to help them grow and be safe while executing their work. He and I stood in the pouring rain at a mutual aid call in Fond du Lac on one occasion, and he came over to me and gave me a helmet butt to show his appreciation for my scene support efforts. He loved his firefighters and he loves this community. I am sure not everyone agreed with everything he did, but we all know that it's impossible for any leader to achieve. And maybe he should have been provided more support and help for the administrative functions of the department. For one man, he certainly had his hands full. But firefighter safety and the safety of this community were always his priority. While Chiefs Saul and Zabel retired suddenly, who could blame them under the current board leadership and circumstances? Both of these men deserve a proper retirement ceremony and community recognition. For the board not to provide them with that and help them celebrate 2 outstanding careers is nothing less than shameful. Chief Saul also spent countless hours working with my wife Kim to help procure grant money, all for the sake of the better equipment for our firefighters. And where is the thanks and recognition from the board for that? About $30,000 just this calendar year, and they couldn't even provide a word of thanks to Chief Saul. In light of these things, and so much more I have not mentioned, to look for flaws and perceived wrongdoing while talking to the media outlets is just despicable. The real waste of taxpayer dollars, including my own, is the time and money being spent chasing down worthless and meritless paper-pushing issues. This seems to be a real case of injustice perpetrated and not justice served. And lastly, not only did the RAFD lose 2 great chiefs, but because of poor board leadership, it also resulted in the loss of a captain and a lieutenant, whom I also worked with on several fire scenes. I watched them at the same mutual aid call mentioned above, kneeling in the basket of Truck 17 in the rain with a house on fire, cutting a hole in the roof with a chainsaw. If my house was burning and my family in peril, these are 2 men I would have wanted to be there. Again, very sad indeed. As a citizen and former drone pilot / scene support for the RAFD, I hope the board's president will return to focusing on what is good and best for the firefighters and the community, and rather than continuing with the public humiliation of these good men, offer them a well-deserved public apology. That was a period, sir. Respectfully, Steve Davis.
I've been told to respond, make a statement that a great deal of that letter is not true. That we will continue to move forward as a district. And I wanted to thank everyone from the board members to the folks with boots on the ground our firefighters for their continued dedication to the safety of the citizens of Ripon. So, moving on, agenda items for future meetings. Number 1, write-offs. Number 2, engine 11, and the hot water heater. Is there anything else? Okay, with that, I think we're gonna have, oh, it's 9 o'clock. I still can't get to my hour
Good.
meeting. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I
Those opposed, same sign.